We are back again. Long time no see, Dom. How we feeling?
Yeah, uh, I feel still pretty good. I mean, obviously going into this week here, it's pretty nerve-wracking. We kind
Mhm.
of talked about it in the last pod here. Steelers Ravens week is always going to be a hectic one. It's always a fun one. Um, but it's even better when we win. One of us is going to be unhappy on
Mhm.
Tuesday next week
Oh yeah, one of us
whenever
is just
we
going to
we
be
do
a
this pod.
real asshole next week. I do want to point out you did a much better job responding to how we feeling this time.
This,
We're doubling down
hey
uh,
man,
on recordings
there's more to
here.
there's
Again,
there's
we
more to
don't
talk
wear the
about.
same clothes every day. We are just doubling down on recording because this is our schedule right now. So
It's a
everybody
little
that wants to
hectic.
think that we don't shower and wear the same clothes, we are.
It'll
This is just
probably
life,
happen again. Yeah, probably happen again
probably
next week. Just so you guys know,
more than
because
likely. So
I,
everybody, leave
I'm
me alone.
busy after our recording days.
And we work opposite schedules. This is it's a
On the
growing
unfortunate
thing.
parts of
This
life.
is our baby, and we're co-parenting it as best as we can.
Yeah, and
So
this is why you guys need to listen more. Please spread the
yes,
word. If
exactly.
you like it,
Please
put it
let
out there.
me put us on the same schedule for the love of God. Everybody subscribe
Yes,
something. Just help me.
we'll
Help me.
we'll do it more. You guys want to
Help
hear
me.
us bitch more?
Just exactly. We got two
Help us.
not terrible faces to look at. Just, you know.
Yeah, we two
And
soft
you want to hear
sixes.
us yell at each other more? We'll do some trivia stuff and bitch at each other. It's great.
It's
Just,
awesome.
you
We'll,
know,
we'll make it a we'll
help us
make it
out
a
a little bit
game.
here. Is that the first time we've promoted this on the pod? I think
Yeah,
it is.
it is.
I think we've
It's
just
good
kind of been
stuff.
like scared to, but like at this point, I don't know. I'm
Whatever. Who cares?
a few
If people
glasses
don't
of
do it,
wine in. We'll just
whatever.
call it what it is. Yeah. Damn it.
I'm sleep
Tell your
deprived. Let's
friends.
get it. Oh, yeah.
If I tell your friends,
Yeah, and
it
have them
means
tell them, and
our
let's
friends
let's
tell more people that we don't know about that you're also friends. Because that's
let's
what we
just push
got right
this
now.
narrative, guys. All right,
Yeah,
let's yell at
exactly.
each other.
Anyway, let's get into it. Let's start with the Thursday night game.
Yeah,
Commanders Eagles. I think this short week is the only thing I hate about this game.
yeah.
That's the only thing I wanted this first matchup
They,
to be on a full week rest kind of thing.
I have some opinions on this game, and all right, just kind of tell you guys what we're doing. So me and Asher, the thing I teased at the end of last episode is we're doing
We'll get to that. We'll get to that when we get to that.
well.
Let's
All
give our
right,
takes
all right.
first. Let's give our
Let's
takes
give our
first and
takes.
let people get mad about that.
Fair enough. Um, I do. I think the Commanders are coming off of a pretty emotional game, where it
Yes.
was close and the ending wasn't ideal for them. They didn't really get that final chance to win that game. And the Eagles
Right.
are coming off of a game where they dog walked another division opponent. So
Mhm.
they are one's riding a high, one's riding a
They're
low.
trending in similar but different directions. I think
Yeah,
the Eagles are kind of peaking a little bit more. Commanders, I feel like they have kind of plateaued a little bit, where
yeah,
they're same kind of thing. Like I said about the Bills too, not being able to beat good teams. The Commanders are 0-3 against teams with winning records. Like they're a very good team and they're very competitive. They're
correct.
just also not. They're young. They're young, and there's nothing wrong with them losing this game. I really don't think that. I won't. My
I don't
opinion
think
of them doesn't really change win or loss on it. If they get boat race, we've said this
yeah.
multiple times this year too. If they get dog walked, like if the Eagles come out and they win this game 35-10, then I start to have real questions about the Commanders, and
Yeah.
all of the stuff about Cliff Kingsbury starts to come up again of like, great the first 10 weeks of the year. But then like people start to figure him out and everything. Like that's when those questions arise. If this game is like last week, 28-27, or it's, they keep it within a touchdown, I really don't feel much different about this team.
No, I think it'll be a close game. I think it'll be a very fun game. And
Mm-hmm.
this is their first time they get to really actually play each other all year. I think they're both playoff teams, regardless, at the end of the day.
And the
unfortunate. No,
Eagles,
not unfortunate. I'm happy that they didn't play each other until the end of the season, like closer to the end. That way you get to see what these teams are like full form
I'm
now that
looking at
they've
the
had
Eagles
the season to
schedule right
prepare.
now too, and
It doesn't get easier. It's tough.
I'm not even that. I'm just looking at who they have played. Not much of anything, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I
two
think a
weeks
lot of
ago
their
they played the Bengals and pushed them around. They played around with their food, let the Jags get back in and make that uh, closer game than it actually was 2 weeks ago. Outside of that, they've gotten the Packers. They did lose to the Falcons.
they lost to the Falcons and the Bucks.
Lost to the Falcons. No, they beat
Falcons
up.
was
Oh yeah, they lost to the Bucks. I did forget
they
about that.
got
Yeah,
beat up by the Bucks, but the Falcons was a
Hmm.
close game.
It's
The
they're
Packers was a
they
close game.
yeah. And out of the bye, they have looked. It took a week,
Oh,
but they've looked like a different team out of the bye. They got the
yeah.
Browns out of the bye, and it was close, and it shouldn't have been. And they kind of haven't looked back since. They
No,
just had a rough quarter and a half to end the Jaguars game into a quarter and a half of the Cowboys
yeah.
game, and then
I mean,
Commanders
these
this week,
next
and then it doesn't get easier. They get the Panthers and
yeah.
the Giants yet, but like outside of that, it's
And that'll be
yeah.
Dak back for that Cowboys game, so it'll be a different
No, Dak's
Cowboys
done.
team.
Dak's done. Dak's done.
Oh, is he done?
You didn't hear that today or yesterday? Today or
I must
yesterday?
have. I knew he was getting
No,
surgery, but I didn't know it was gonna
no,
be
he's
like
done.
done. Done.
He's done. Done for the year.
That's unfortunate. Then yeah, no, you get two like kind of like
Oh yeah, I forgot about the
take your
Cowboys there too.
take your foot off that brake there at the end. But like in over the course of the next 6 weeks here, you have one semi easy game, and that's against the Panthers. And even the Panthers have kind of looked better. We'll see
The
if that
Panthers are
kind of
now starting to
trends.
look like what we thought they were going to look like at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, so we'll kind of see
Where
how
it's
that trend
like,
goes.
yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, I think they're going to get friskier. No,
yeah,
the Panthers are going to be in a position where they can spoil somebody's season. That's all I need to say
maybe.
about the Panthers.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, we're both on this one. It's going to be
yeah,
a really fun game, a really important game too for both teams. Yeah. Let's save our screaming match
yeah.
for the
And
end.
that was kind of why I wanted to bring it up to kind of like talk
I say
about
we
my
wait on
overall
that.
thoughts.
Let's wait on that.
But
Let's agree
that's
on some
fine.
stuff. Let's keep the peace for a little bit here. So
Okay,
let's
that's
jump
fine.
to Chiefs Bills
Oh, you mean game wise? I see what you're
game
saying.
wise.
Okay,
I want to jump to Chiefs Bills before we do our
okay.
thing here. Lead into that one here. Let's
I
get
think
let's get the
I think it's gonna start right here.
cordial, respectful stuff out of the way here.
I think this might start it because I know we're on
That's
two
the other
different
part.
ends of the spectrum with this game.
Yeah, so I'll
Because
let you start on
I
this one.
because I like one of these teams a lot more than the other. Just kind of based on season length. Just the other one happens to have tripped and fell to a 9-0 seed. The Chiefs. This is gonna sound crazy, and I don't even care at this point. This Chiefs 9-0 team feels like when the Steelers started their season off 11-0 in 2020. It's like, how do they keep winning
Mhm.
week over week?
Eagles
Why is this
last year.
happening?
Eagles last year.
Yeah, like what is this? And then they lose. They end up losing like 4 out of their last 6 games, and they kind of like plateau a little bit. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen with KC. I have no idea. I'm just saying that's kind of how it feels with their wins and the way they're winning. It's very reminiscent of what the Steelers did that year. I think this is by far their hardest game they're playing yet. Because I think they got lucky when they played the Ravens week 1. That was the time to play Baltimore. Because their offensive line
They
wasn't
still didn't know
set,
what to do with Derrick Henry at this point. At that point.
didn't understand that their offense was a bit different. Their defense had a lot of question marks. Their defense still has question marks, but those question marks are known. You know what the issue is now. You
Mhm.
didn't know then. You know it now. So they
And
got
the
lucky with
secondary
that
actually
game,
played really well in that game too.
which is shocking.
That's
So
the
they
weird
got
thing with this secondary. They get up for certain things, and like
yeah,
it's
and then
I don't know, it's a whole thing.
they played the Bengals week 2, and then they played the Falcons week 3. Every game since then, because you got the Niners when they
The
were
only game that they handled was
fully hurt.
the Saints.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah,
That was a 13-point
that's
game,
the only
and then
one
they
that
beat the
they fully handled. Yeah,
Niners by 10. If you played the Buccaneers, if they were fully healthy, you lose that game. If
Okay.
the Broncos kick the field goal from the left hash instead of the right, you lose that game. So on and so forth. It's just those small differences really kind of change that end narrative. So I think it's eventually going to run out with what they're doing, but
So you're saying you're more so on Chiefs are kind of dead in the water on this one?
no, I'm not saying that because it's
Oh,
still
okay.
the Chiefs. You still have the
Okay,
Chiefs.
fair enough.
They are underdogs in this game. They're the road dogs, and I know how you feel about the road dogs this season.
Not even road dogs, just Mahomes as an underdog.
Yeah, I think there are positives and negatives to both sides. Without kind of getting too much into it and spoiling any more talking points that I have further for later on in our segment, but I like the Bills' offense, and I'm curious to see how they're going to adjust to Spagnuolo this week. I hope that Keon Coleman's healthy. I hope that Amari Cooper's healthy, just so that way I can get that full glimpse again of what that Bills' offense looks like. And this is the perfect week to kind of project that into what it would look like into the playoffs and what that team looks like and how they can match up against the Chiefs, because that's what I want to see. If you can run that out there fully healthy and take advantage and beat that defense, I like the Bills. But I don't know if that's what I'm getting on Wednesday night at 11:10. I can't say that.
Fair enough.
I just can't say that.
Yeah, no, I am differing on this opinion.
Well, I'm not saying I'm dead. That's what I'm picking. That's all what I'm
Fair
saying.
enough.
I'm
Fair
not
enough.
saying
Fair enough.
anything. I'm just giving
I
open opinion.
That's fair. No, I do think that the Bills have won the regular season matchup the past couple of years with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to be the case this year. Because I have, like I said in the last episode there, that the Bills against good teams, as much as I like the Bills, this one just, like, I haven't seen enough from the Amari Cooper deal at this point, that addition, to make me feel different about
Yeah.
this. And I
Yeah.
feel
I can
that
completely
trade made
agree.
me feel better about that team. Like, on record of saying that I really liked that move.
Yeah.
However, we haven't seen that yet.
Yeah. Because he just hasn't been
And
healthy.
I
That's
don't,
kind of what I was saying. Yeah.
yeah, a health thing for sure. I don't think this is the week to find out.
Yeah.
I think Spags is good enough. And if the only reason that I think the Chiefs lose this game is if they go, no, we got to lose one, honestly. Like, because if they want to win this game, they will. Spags will dial up that
That's fair.
defense in a
That's
fashion
very
that is
fair.
going to not neutralize Josh Allen, but limit. Like, he's going to move the ball.
Yeah.
I'm not saying
Yeah.
they won't be productive on offense, but it's going to be field goals over touchdowns.
Yeah. I want to see. There's a lot that I want to see in this game
Yeah.
from both sides of this ball. I want to see how Mahomes handles this competition at this time of the year when
Mhm.
he hasn't looked good at all this season. That's what I want to see. I want to see
No.
I want to see a Mahomes game. I do.
Yeah,
Give
and I
me that.
think the Bucks game is the closest you've gotten to that.
Yeah.
But last week again, like, the Broncos emptied the clip on them and
hmm
really just put him through hell that entire game. I don't know if the Bills are going to get that same type of pressure. I
I think
don't.
it depends. I think what it comes down to is what adjustments is Kansas City's offense going to make.
Yeah.
What are they going to shift their own line? Are they going to make adjustments at half throughout the game? Because they didn't do that. They didn't make those adjustments. They didn't change their
Yeah.
game plan. It just happened they stopped the Broncos offense a little bit more in the second half. That was what changed. It wasn't the offense
Yeah, no,
side.
and I think that's
They
kind of what you're
mimicked
going to see
everything.
again this week too. Is just
Because
a
I do think the Bills do have a good front seven. They can get after the quarterback. They can create pressure. They can create that pass rush. They can stop the run. And
yeah.
that's what I want to
It's
see.
a coaching thing where
Yeah.
you got one team that is established at, paying attention to finer details of games,
Yeah.
and a team that's really for the first time since they've had this version of Josh Allen that they are kind of paying attention to finer details, and you're not
Hmm.
seeing them executed as well. Back to the Texans game where, clock management kind of thing. It's just I'm very hesitant on this. And part of
Yeah.
this is, I will say this too, is just like part of my feelings on this game is that the Chiefs are underdogs in this game. If they
Which is
were
crazy.
a 2-point favorite in this game, I like the Bills a lot more.
Yeah.
But with them being 2.5-point underdogs, that changes my perception of this game entirely, just historically, as with Patrick Mahomes as an underdog, which I will get into
Yeah.
later. Little tease. So that's kind of where I'm standing at on this one.
Yeah. Which is definitely fair. I'm not hard pressed one way or another, and we'll get into that.
Yeah, exactly.
All
All
right.
right, now let's get into the big one. Let's get
Let's
into the
just
big
yell
one
at each
here. We
other.
got the standoff. I
I'll
should
let you
have.
yap first.
Let me yap first. So I, on the last episode, gave the Steelers all of the flowers, all of them, all of the flowers that I could possibly give. They are sitting at Mike Tomlin's feet right now. I think I nailed them. I could probably give you a 1-800-Flowers receipt, and they're all there.
That's what I
They're all
need
there.
that. Yeah,
The
thank you.
biggest bouquets of everything. They're all right there for Mike Tomlin. However, like we talked about in the last one, road team usually has the number in this game over the past couple of years. Lamar, even in his bad games this year, is a wildly productive quarterback. I am so confident in this game.
That's crazy. Interesting.
Weirdly enough, I am weirdly confident. There's betting trends that play into this. I don't really like how confident I am in this game.
I don't like that. That's odd because Lamar historically is not good against the Steelers.
No, I mean,
he's very bad, actually.
To be fair, I think he's played you guys like 7 times or something like that. He's always been hurt for the games against the Steelers.
Yeah, but he's only beat them 1 time, or something crazy like that. Or in Pittsburgh, he's 1-3. It's something like that.
Hold on. I'll look that up.
I forget the necessary
You start
stats,
your thing,
but
and I'll look at that in the meantime.
Yeah, there's a couple points. One of them is that Lamar historically is not good against Pittsburgh, and especially with this new defense that they're running out there every week, and how pressed they are against the run. That is pretty huge when the Ravens typically need to establish the run to really be able to utilize the entirety of their offense. So with the addition of Patrick Queen and Deshaun Elliott and having a Landon Roberts, who is the best run-stopping linebacker right now in football, I think that's going to really play a major role into Derrick Henry struggling in this game. And Pittsburgh historically does well against Derrick Henry, or has for the most part. I'm sure he has gotten their number 1 or 2 times, but they've also stopped him from outproducing his typical numbers on occasions. So I think that's going to play a factor, is if Pittsburgh can't stop that run, can't stop Derrick Henry, keep him to a minimal volume, such as the Broncos did this past week in that facet. I think that's going to play a role. Because the one thing that Steelers do well is they create turnovers, they make those plays, and they're going to continue to do that this weekend, one way or another. Whether that is via interception, forcing a fumble, whatnot, or just creating plays on the special team side of the ball, because they do that every single week, it seems, at this point.
That's one thing.
That's gonna
the special teams I am concerned about with Justin Tucker's struggles this year. More so. Which actually, I did see somebody this was like a random person on Twitter, and it kind of caught some steam on Ravens Twitter. Somebody pointed it out since Sam Cook retired, their punter, 3 years ago, Tucker has gotten progressively worse. And they pointed out that was his holder for his entire career. And
That's crazy.
Haven't jived since then.
Interesting.
And, which is a weird little wrinkle in just the Justin Tucker timeline of everything.
Yeah.
But I did look this up. Lamar is 2-4 against the Steelers. So
2-4.
He's played.
Okay.
Regardless, he's been in the league since 2018. He's played 6 games against the Steelers,
which is it's so odd.
You guys have dodged. You guys have dodged him so many times. Because they're always back end.
There
games.
has been
the Steelers Ravens games are always back end schedule, and 2 seasons he had long term injuries.
And there's been 2 other cases in that time frame where we played week 18, or at least one case, and he just straight up just didn't play
his first MVP.
It was 2019.
2019, I think they got each other in week 18.
Well,
and they
2018,
had already
19.
won.
Yeah. It was 2019 at that point, but yeah. I know what you're
saying. Yeah. But also, he's 2-4 against the Steelers. Both wins.
Yeah.
In Pittsburgh.
Interesting.
Yep.
That's
also to your point on Derrick Henry.
If this all happens, it does not bode well for the second matchup.
Also, no, it doesn't at all. Is that a week 18? Is that week 18?
No, it's not. We play.
Oh, no, it's Christmas Day. We talked about this. Yeah, no, it's Christmas Day.
No, we play. No, we don't play you Christmas Day. We play.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, we play the Chiefs Christmas Day.
Oh, no, we get the week before Christmas. That's right. The Saturday before Christmas. That's what it was.
So we're December 21st.
We get the Texans. Anyway, also to your Derrick Henry point, Derrick Henry has played 3 games against the Steelers. First one, I am throwing away. This is his rookie year, 2017.
Okay.
And he only had 7 carries for 32 yards. Outside of that, they played in 2020 and last year. So the first game, 20 carries, 75 yards, and a touchdown. Okay. Last year, 17 carries, 75 yards, and a touchdown.
So exact same numbers, basically. 75 yards.
Essentially, yeah.
So, but comparatively to Derrick Henry's career, that's not good. That's like pretty.
Well,
that's
I'm
on
just
the
saying,
lower
like, even so, this last week he was. Hold on, let me just pull it up here. He was against the Bengals, 16 carries, 68 yards, and a touchdown, and they still put up. But what I'm saying is, they still put up 35 points.
Yeah, which is fair. Yeah.
A Bengals defense that we have zero faith in, but still.
Yeah, so I'm
weirdly confident in this game that Lamar is, because at this point, because likely, as far as I know, will be back. He didn't play this last week, short week more than anything. He's questionable right now.
Is Hamilton questionable, or is he good to go?
Hamilton. Hamilton and Van Noy are both questionable. I don't love that.
Okay.
That might change things.
If Hamilton doesn't go, that's not good.
No,
that +3 for the Steelers.
However, Najee is questionable.
He's playing. I'm telling you. He came back into the game.
Yeah, but Highsmith is out.
Highsmith is out 2 to 3 weeks. Correct. But let me remind you, the Steelers traded for Preston Smith. Nick Herbig is also back this week. So our pass rush does not miss at all. Thank you.
Regardless,
we have the best.
I mean, we're being very civil right now.
Yeah,
we really are.
It's
Sunday at 1 o'clock. Sunday at 1 o'clock, it's going to be a very different thing. I wish. So
Sunday at 1 o'clock, I'm going to be in New York City. I'm not going to have this game on.
You son of a bitch. You son of a bitch.
Suck.
I was just going to say we should live stream. We should live stream this game.
I'm so mad about it. Trust me, I'm not happy. I'm not happy. I'm very happy that I get to go to New York. That I'm going to be there. I'm not happy that it is this week. That it is.
I'm also mad that you're not going to share my same feelings.
Oh, trust me, I will.
I'm blowing your phone up. I'm blowing your phone up.
It's going to be unbelievable.
Yeah. But
I'm very excited for this game to finally come to fruition. And it's not
especially at this
the same
point.
Game. Yeah. It's not the same game that we thought it was going to be when the season started. We didn't realize that this was going to have this much riding on
juice
it
and
coming into
meaning,
week
and
11.
yeah, this is
Wasn't
very
it
different.
wasn't supposed to be like this. So the
No,
fact that it is kind of makes it like that much more exciting, that much
for
more
real.
juicy, and
Ooh, juicy.
just kind of mean that much more. And like
Yeah.
we even talked about weeks and weeks and months ago at this point, like going to this game, but we didn't think at that time when we had that
Yeah.
discussion that this game
It
would
was
be
going to
like
mean
the
anything.
winner.
It was like, oh, we'll go.
It's kind of like the winner of this game has will take the direct position to win the NFC North, because if the Steelers win,
AFC.
they have a game. Oh, AFC North. I'm sorry, it's late, guys.
Come on now.
Because the Steelers win, they have a game and a half on the Ravens at that point.
Exactly.
If the Ravens win, they have a half a game on the Steelers. So it's like it's a big swing.
Yeah, it's a huge game.
And that team now has the direct win over the other.
For
now,
sure.
Obviously that can all get canceled out in 5 weeks when they play again.
Which we know it will. We know whoever wins this game loses the second one. Nobody's sweeping in this.
Unfortunately, it doesn't
That's
typically
just
happen.
how it goes.
The Steelers swept the Ravens last year, I think, and that should.
I think they got the second one.
I don't know. I know Kenny Pickett stole a game for whatever reason.
The first one where Lamar played.
The first one?
That was Lamar's worst game in the regular season. He played like shit. He threw a pick at the end of that game in Baltimore.
Right to Joey Porter.
Yeah, in the end zone. Yeah, no, I remember that one because I think it was the week after the Colts game that they lost to Gardner Minshew, and shouldn't have.
Sounds about right.
Which again, fucking Gardner Minshew has our number for some reason, but whatever. All right, let's get into this. So this is the new wrinkle starting this week. Should have started at the beginning, but we're also not that smart.
No, sorry. Continue.
All right, were you telling me now? Should I keep talking about this new wrinkle?
Yeah.
Well, I was going to let you do it because
Steelers swept last year.
They did?
Steelers. Yeah, they did.
Cool.
They did.
Well, what were they doing in January? Not losing to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship.
No. They lost to the Bills by 40 in the wild card, like I thought they would. All right.
Yeah,
so what we're gonna do this week,
new wrinkle,
and kind of pushing forward is, we're selecting 5 games. 4 of those games we decide. This week, those 4 games that we are picking are Commanders and Eagles on Thursday. We're picking the Steelers, Ravens. We're picking the Bills, Chiefs, and we went with the Bengals, Chargers. Those are the 4 that we will pick, no matter what. There's a 5th game. That 5th game is choice of our own, but the winner of that game has to be deemed as an underdog going into the week.
Yeah,
so that is that rule for that game. And if you get that game right, you get 2 points.
Yes.
And if you pick the other 4, that's all 1 point. So there's 6 points on the line every single week. We're going to keep track going forward from here on out. And whoever has the most points at the end, I guess gets bragging rights if we want to decide something else. Or if you guys have anything, let us know, and we'll kind of figure that out going forward. But I thought this would be kind of like a little bit more fun.
Poppy, don't come up with something stupid. Poppy, don't come up with something stupid. He's the only other person I know that
would do anything.
Yeah,
bring it on. Come up with something
don't be an
stupid.
asshole. Yeah.
So yeah, I wanna kind of do this. Just I think
friendly competition. I think this would have been better. We had originally thought about doing a trivia thing and everything like that. Just keep it score on that. That obviously hasn't happened, we haven't done anything else because like we said, our schedules are opposite, everything like that. So
everything's kind of settled down now a little bit, so it kind of makes this a little bit easier to kind of understand.
Right. And the fact that it's taken us 10 weeks to figure out something like this shows you why we're not that smart of people. But
well, going forward,
regardless,
this will be a staple.
We got something here to yell at each other and argue and bragging rights, all that sort of fun stuff. So,
all right, Washington, Philly.
Washington, Philly.
Where we're starting. I went with Philly. I think Philly has the upper hand here. like I said, they just dog walk the Cowboys. Commanders are coming off an emotional loss, an emotional win, and I think Philly kind of has the upper hand in this game. And if they get out to an early lead, I don't think they're letting up. Plus, their defense has figured it out. And Washington, we already saw them go up against a very good defense last week with Pittsburgh. Philly has a good defense as long as they do what they're supposed to do. I think it'll be a close game. I just think Philly kind of takes that one. Where are you at?
Yeah, I am on the same side of this one. I'm taking Philly as well.
Okay, very good.
The emotional loss, I think Philly is trending in the right direction.
Yeah.
Whereas Washington is kind of leveling off a little bit.
Yeah.
Again, I do just again want to say I really like everything that's going on in Washington. Not this week. Not on a short week after that loss.
Not like that.
It would take one hell of an emotional pregame speech from Dan Quinn.
Which is possible.
For them. It is possible. But I'm with you on this one. I think Philly takes this game. Yeah. Do we want to?
Well,
which game do we want to jump to next?
It doesn't matter. We're differing on the next. We're differing on the next two games, so it doesn't matter.
Well, the Homer game is happening right now.
Yeah. So I went with the Steelers. You went with the Ravens. We kind of already talked about our reasons and kind of going over that. Just kind of keep it civil. I think the Steelers being at home, you saw what even our away crowd did to the Commanders last week.
Yeah, I mean nobody travels like the Steelers. I will say that.
Yeah. So it's just and even then coming off that emotional win last week against the Commanders and bringing all that energy back to Pittsburgh and what that crowd's going to look like and what that energy level's going to do in that stadium. It's going to be a different feeling. And nothing feels as good in Pittsburgh when the Steelers are good. Nothing.
Yeah. It is. That is the one team.
I've been in this city for 27 years. I know the feeling of good vibes when they're good, when they're bad now. I understand it. And man, that stadium is going to shake. I live 4 miles from there. I might be able to hear it if I step outside.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I mean, not even that. It's just like, Jesus Christ, any bar in Pittsburgh, like, I think you forget that I did spend some time in Pittsburgh. I do.
Four whole months.
Love the city. Hate everything about their sports.
It's fair.
Except for the Bucks, because obviously they mean nothing.
They're bad.
They're just bad.
Pulse Kings is fun.
But
yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. But yeah, no, I'm on Baltimore on this one.
Yeah.
Like we said, Lamar's 2 wins against this team have come in Pittsburgh. The other wrinkle on this is road divisional favorites this year. This is just a trend that's going on this year. Have been covering at an unprecedented clip.
Interesting.
And the Ravens are favored by 3.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing that's going on there. I think the Ravens have a lot of momentum going into this right now. I think they're going to get up for this game.
They need to.
They definitely need to. Yeah, I think they want to win the division for sure.
Here's the situation. If they're not winning by, I'll say 2 touchdowns going in a half, they're in trouble.
You know how I feel about a fucking 2 touchdown lead as a Ravens fan.
That's what I'm saying.
Never safe. Well, it's never safe.
I'm saying that because the Steelers are a second half team. That's the issue. That defense shows its best self in the second half.
Stupid. Again, I'm going through this. I'm regretting everything. All the good things that I said about the Steelers at this point. It's just like, why now am I buying into this Steelers team? Going into this week. Just stupid. I don't want to talk about this anymore.
Because you're going to take it back so much.
No,
you're going to move on.
Dude, I'm going to comment. Next week, I'm going to have a full head of gray hair because of this game. No matter what happens on this, I'm going to be fully gray.
Yeah. It's just one way you're going to be gray and happy. The other way you're going to be gray and sad.
Exactly. Like, let me be a silver fox, not just depressed. Anyway, moving on. Chiefs-Bills.
I went with the Bills side. I know you went with the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of for the reasons we both already discussed.
Yeah.
Bills, they kind of like you said, they have the Chiefs number during the season, and the Chiefs are bound to lose a game at this point. I think it has to happen this week, and if it doesn't happen this week, I don't know when it's gonna happen. It might not be until they play the Steelers. Nobody thumbs down. Will you stop it?
My hands are not even in the screen.
I hate it. But yeah, so I think just this is kind of the week that it happens. This Chiefs team just kind of has shown a lot of inability to push that offensive side. If they switch it up and they really come out, like I said, I need to see a Mahomes game. If they show a Mahomes game, obviously it's I'm eating my words and the Bills are gonna lose, but I don't expect that.
Yeah, that's fair. No, I'm on the other side of this where, again, if the Bills would have lost last week, I would feel much better about the Bills.
Yeah,
However, I think the Chiefs, looking at that game as poorly as they played on both sides of the ball, honestly, they were looking ahead to this game. And I on the flip side, like the emotional high thing, I don't think affects them as much on this one. I think there's more of a momentum thing because it happened on special teams play. If they would have hit a 60-yard bomb to Xavier Worthy to win the game, I think that emotional letdown is much more relevant. I just don't
yeah,
think that's the case with this game. I I'm also hoping that the Chiefs are going like, fuck it, let's just try to run this out as long as we can, kind of thing.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
It
so I
I don't
am on
know.
the
It's
Chiefs on this,
interesting.
and I'm hoping that's what they're thinking right
Yeah,
now, and
I
for the
am.
sake of staying engaged in football games more
Yeah,
than anything. So I'm on the Chiefs. I think they handle their business, not handle their business in the sense of they win by 10, but
yeah,
a field goal to win something. I
yeah,
think it's just gonna be something that puts them over the edge, and they win by a field goal.
yeah. I'm happy that we have some differing opinions. I think that might
Yeah.
continue with this next one with the Bengals Chargers.
Yeah, I'm
Who do you
curious where
got?
you land on this one. I'm very curious.
Uh,
This is the last game that we agreed that we were going to
yeah,
do. Um, just this is more of a quarterback thing. Herbert, Burrow, two very different teams, two very intriguing teams, I should say. A
yeah,
great
yeah. Because
should be a very fun
yeah, we
Sunday
didn't
night
touch on
game.
this game at all, so I'm
No,
curious.
because
I want to. We're dancing around this. Who did you
yeah.
take? That's all I want to know.
Oh, you're going to me on this one? I went with the
I answered
Chargers. I'm
first,
on the Chargers on this one.
and we are again on the opposite sides of this coin. I'm with the
Really?
Bengals.
Damn,
Yes.
I did not think that. I really didn't think you were going to
I
go there.
yes, I
No,
gave
I
so
am.
I gave the Chargers their flowers in our top 10.
Yeah.
I like everything they're doing. I think the Bengals are pissed. They are pissed off, and the Chargers just happen to be the next game they play. It's not more so anything against them. I think the Bengals, especially if T. Higgins is playing in this game, it is bomb city, bombs away all game long. They're going to, and I'll kind of get into this in my fantasy this week. I think it's just going to be kind of like an air raid a little bit. And I don't know if the Chargers are going to be able to keep up. Simple as that. I think they can if they want to. I don't know
Hmm.
if they'll be able to. That's the thing. And especially if the Bengals start with the ball, score right away, kind of push that narrative of like, yes, our offense can still do this, not just against the Ravens or against other similar bad defenses. If that is the case and they come out and they show that, they're winning that game all day to Sunday.
Damn. No, I am. I'm very different on that
I
because
yeah,
I I have my questions about the Bengals.
oh
Their
certainly I have
passing
my questions
their
about them.
passing game is not one of them. However,
No,
I think the
not at
Chargers are
all.
going to take the air out of the ball on this one. I think you're going to look up and it's going to be time of possession is going to be so
So
overwhelmingly skewed because Bengals have nothing of a run defense. Like you said, Trey
yeah,
Hendrickson leads the league in
yeah,
sacks right now. I don't think that means nothing to Jim Harbaugh. That
no,
means
not at
nothing.
all.
Dobbins between and Gus Edwards is back, and he was getting touches this past week too. Between the two of them, they'll run for $170. I don't think that's out of the
Sure,
question,
sure. I don't think so
and
either.
they're just going to eat the clock.
Yeah,
And when they
I
need
think.
Justin Herbert to make a play, especially off this past week,
Yeah,
past 2 weeks, really, he's going to do that. That's just who he
yeah,
is, and that's what they're asking him to
sure,
do. And he's
sure.
much more capable than what they're asking him to do. But it's everything is so perfect with what they're trying to do and what they are, everything like that. I honestly thought we were going to be on the same side of this one. I really did. I thought we were going to be on the same side of this one more than I thought we
I
were going to be on
just,
the same side of the Commanders Eagles game.
yeah, I
Honestly.
kind of just, I don't know, just something about Cincy this week, and I think that offense is really gonna kind
I
of go.
think they're the
I get what you're saying.
I think they're
I
the
do understand
fraudulent
what you're saying.
version of the Aaron Rodgers relax press conference. Remember that from a few years ago when they were struggling
Yeah,
and he did
it's
the
like
whole spell it RELAX and then they rattled off 6 out of 7 or 7 out of 8, whatever it was. They made the playoffs, won the
yeah.
division,
I don't.
everything like
No,
that, yada
I
yada.
don't think. I don't
I
think they're
think
making the
that's what
playoffs.
no, I'm just saying like I
Yeah,
think that's I like Burrow because he is very just there's a baseline on him. He doesn't get too high, he doesn't get too low, everything like
yeah,
that. Like it's very calm with him.
yeah, for sure.
And I'm not saying he's trying to emulate Rodgers and that whole thing in that specific instance that I'm referencing, but I also think that like that's what he's doing. But I don't think this is not the same team.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
And
I
as much as I
definitely
like
understand
Joe
what you're saying.
Burrow, I don't think he can rattle off something like that with this defense. So that's where I'm at with I'm on the Chargers on this one for sure. I
Okay,
was very very comfortable in this one. We obviously like I was like yeah we'll do this one because it's a good QB matchup. It's the young guys whatever blah blah blah. Same QB class or same draft class whatever blah blah blah. But I fully thought we were going to be on the same side on this one.
you know, I also just like to go bold.
We'll see
Sometimes
that.
it's
We'll see when we get to our underdog picks. So
well, here it
speaking of
is.
which, good
Here it
transition.
is.
Who's your
My
underdog
underdog
pick?
pick is so this week there. I mean, it's so obvious who I was gonna pick going in, and it took you a minute to kind of figure it out. And I'm just pulling up my line
Mainly
on
because I
this. I
didn't
don't know,
realize this team was in fact an underdog.
which is mind blowing.
Yeah,
So
you are taking the smart one. I will say that.
yeah, I'm definitely taking the smart one. So the line, so the game is Indy versus the Jets, and the line I have is the Jets are 4-point favorites,
Yeah, that's what I had too.
which is insane to me because Indy
Bananas,
has the better.
absolutely bananas.
Rodgers has looked like the back end of a car that's been dragged through hell. He looks awful. I feel so bad. I don't. The man sucks. Um,
He's done. No,
and
and I don't feel bad about saying it.
he's
I don't.
and
The back end of a car.
they looked awful last week against Arizona, and the Colts have a very similar style of play. They do. They have, and especially with A-Rich coming back, it's a mobile quarterback with a good upcoming defense, a great offensive line, a good run game. That's what you have. And it's going to be very similar game style. I'm not saying it's going to be the exact same because A-Rich makes more mistakes than Kyler. That's going to happen.
Well,
He's going to throw.
as long as A Rich has been working on his cardio the past 2 weeks, I love
He should
this. I love
He
that pick.
should. And I'm
Yeah, as
sure
long as
he
he's not
has.
getting winded and just needs to sit down for a second, you're good. You're good. 100%.
So I think that the Colts definitely kind of run the Jets a little bit here. I'm not
Yeah.
saying it's going to be a blowout, but I'm saying you're giving them 4 points to start the week.
No
It just
need for that.
feels,
None.
yeah, it just
This is
feels like a
Vegas
no-brainer.
still not wanting to buy in. No, I'm with you on this one
I
100%.
yeah,
I
I
love
think
that
that they
pick.
just, I think they meant to give the Jets +4 and they just forgot to add it. I
Yeah.
really don't know.
No, because
Like
like
they're gonna lose money on that
even
game.
still, like you're saying this, okay, the standard is a 3-point swing for home field advantage. You're still saying that the Jets are favored by a point on neutral field?
It's
Are you kidding me?
crazy, crazy.
Stupid. That's free money.
Yeah.
Um,
Go
absolutely
ahead.
free money. And
What's your game?
two things. Hold on, I didn't actually think about that. Hold on, I'm doing one other thing. I was going to triple down,
Triple
but
down. That's bold.
I was going to triple down, which I didn't. I completely missed this game, honestly. That Colts game. I'll get into it there. I just had to write that down before I forgot. That's what I wanted to do. Anyway, so mine is a little nuanced, and I know we normally do fantasy before we do my picks at the end here, but I'm going to hijack that a little bit because it's a good transition. So
Mm-hmm.
my underdog pick of the week is much bolder. I got the Raiders beating the Dolphins in Miami.
Who's is it? It's I can't even
Don't
talk. Is
care.
it still Gardner? You
Don't
don't
care.
care.
Don't
All
care.
right.
Do not
Okay.
care.
All
Do
right.
not care. I
Okay.
don't buy the Dolphins.
All right.
I don't. I
Fair.
mean, I've been hearing people say, like, oh, maybe they're the Rams of last year. Like, it just, took a minute and then they rattle off 7 of 8 and squeak in as a 17. No, I don't buy it.
That's not
I
happening.
do not buy
Let's just
that.
get that. Yeah, it's
I
not
don't.
happening.
I do not buy that for 1 second on this team. Tua has continually proved me wrong on my doubts of him.
Yeah.
However, that defense, not the same without Christian Wilkins. Here's the other caveat, specifically in this spot, though, where I'm going to go with the Raiders. There's a weird thing going on this year in terms of betting and
Okay.
spreads and everything like that. Teams from out east going west have been covering pretty well, but when they come back east, they're not. They're
Interesting.
struggling the following week. It's not the initial week like you would expect from the long flight going one way. It's when they come back
Okay.
that it's affecting them.
Interesting. Interesting
So
stats that
that's
you always pull
where
up with
I'm
this.
going. Hey, listen, you got to have a fucking stupid ass brain to get into this. So that's where I'm going with
Fair enough.
this one. Is that
Okay.
I think the Dolphins were extremely desperate going from Miami to LA. Now they're coming back
Okay.
and go, hey, we got this one. We can start something. But your next game is the Raiders. And you're not going to quite get up for that. You go, all right, we just took care of business against the Rams, even though the Rams just played horribly in that game. I'm
Yeah.
running with this one. I
Okay.
like this spot a lot, which brings me into my picks.
All right. So that's pick one.
That is pick one. I got the Raiders +7 regardless. So
Okay.
let me just jump into this one here. So last week
No, you're good.
we went 3-2 again, back-to-back 3-2 weeks, winning weeks.
Making progress.
Yeah. We Steelers +3 against Commanders, they went outright. Pats +6 against the Bears, they went outright. And then Broncos +7.5 against the Chiefs. Should have won outright. Would have had a hell of a week, honestly, if we just threw those three together as money lines. If
Yeah.
Broncos left side of the kicking line could hold up. Losses last week. Rams -1 against the Dolphins. Just talked about it. Rams, honestly, probably couldn't have played any worse in that game. and still
Yeah,
had
it
a
was a
chance to
tough
win that game. Like
tough game for them.
it didn't look great, and they
No.
still had a real chance in that one. And then we had Colts +4 against the Bills. Obviously, did not hit. The game was close for a while.
Yeah.
And then Joe Flacco decided to turn into the last 18 months playing for the Ravens. Joe Flacco.
Yeah. Joe Flacco sitting
And
on the couch.
what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
What are
He's
you
still
gonna
Joe
do?
Elite in my he's still Joe Elite in my eyes, and
Yeah.
it is what it is. However, yeah. So we'll go first one there. Raiders +7 against the Dolphins. This has already moved. When I looked at it this morning, it was +7.5, which
Mm.
tells me your boy's on the right side on this one already. Again, same reasons that I talked about. It's the coming back from playing out west thing that I am on board for.
Okay.
This is playing a number more than anything. Playing a number, playing a spot hasn't always worked for me, but it is what it is. That's playing the smart sides. That's why we're creeping back up to 500. Which also, by the way, we're 22, 27, and 1 on the year.
Okay.
Still under 500, but there's time. A couple more 3 and 2
All right.
weeks. We're good. We're good. That is what it is. All right.
We got this.
Now, 2 favorite bets of the week. My 2 favorites. I don't know which one I like more, but we'll start with Browns +1 against the Saints. The Saints played basically their Super Bowl last week. Coaching fire bump. They played so poorly against the Panthers. Cam Jordan had to apologize to fans. Like, this was,
Yeah.
like I said on the last episode there, as much as I've been on the Falcons this year, I put some money on the Saints last week just because of that spot. So that emotional letdown and just Jameis being Jameis accidental touchdowns at this point.
It's revenge week, dude. Revenge
week.
week.
We can call it a revenge game. Who knows? I like the Browns +1 this week against the Saints. Other favorite bet for the same reasons. Falcons +2.5 against the Broncos. Falcons getting the Broncos at home. Just suffered their most embarrassing loss of the year. They really, I'm watching a lot of that game. They couldn't get anything going right in that game. It just, anytime they tried to get a drive going, it was a Kirk Cousins sack. Like, Saints were just selling out. Also, Broncos, again, I think they emptied the clip last week. Against the Chiefs there, gave them everything they had. I think they're going to be gassed going into this game.
Yeah,
and Falcons, also just the Falcons being underdogs is just ridiculous.
It's weird.
It really makes no sense. This is such an over. Again, this is in. This is in Denver. This is in Denver.
Yeah.
Regardless, this feels like such a massive overvaluation of the Broncos because of them playing the Chiefs tight. I like the Falcons to win it outright on this one.
I
that doesn't concern me at all.
I kind of like the Broncos still in that game, but it's a weird one.
Yeah, no, it feels like
Yeah.
Again, going back to the well, I'll triple down on this one a little bit. Or not triple. This is a double down, not the triple down. Double down. Chiefs +2 against the Bills. Mahomes in his career is 14-2-1 against the spread as an underdog. 11 of those games he's won outright.
Yeah.
So that one just kind of speaks for itself. Is you don't get the Chiefs as an underdog much. And when you do, it's just the right side to be on, and you play.
Yeah.
You kind of if the Bills end up winning this game, fine. Honestly, like I can live with losing this one, but this is just one that you got to go. You have to take it, because you're never going to get the Chiefs as an underdog. And then the last one, the one that I was going to triple down on, until you reminded me the Colts were in fact underdogs. I was going to take the Ravens -3. And triple down on that. I really wanted to. And for the sake of this pod, if we had a bigger viewing audience, I would 100% take that just for the sake of it. Either I get to be an even larger asshole next week, or I get to be even sadder. It would have just been great content.
And look like a larger asshole.
I'm gonna do this right now. All right, judgment call. I'll put this one in your court because I do think the smarter bet is the Colts +4 against the Jets. That's the smarter one. That's the smarter one.
You're rooting, are you rooting for your own money, or are you rooting for to look like an asshole?
I'm gonna let you know this is real money that gets put on it. Like I do put my money on it.
I'd go Colts.
You don't have to feel bad. This is us working out the podcast on live here. Do you think it is more fun for me to gamble on the Ravens, or do you think it is? What do you value? What do you value more? What do you think is more fun?
The
more fun option, I know what it is. The content are you being nice
next
to me?
Week. The content we get next week, say you go 4-1.
Either way,
it's the Ravens that lose, would just make me so happy. Knowing that the Colts have like a gimme game against the Jets.
Are you as much appreciative of the content if the Ravens do cover?
Yeah, I mean, I don't care. For me personally, I'm going to feel the exact same way today as I would next week if they lose. You, on the other hand, won't.
It's not. I will say I'm not putting that much money. Like these bets are not that much money. They really are.
Like $10, guys.
It's 20. It's fine. However, it's like 20. I am putting, just for the sake of it, like it is what it is. $5 a week. It's $100 a week. Just for everybody. That's let's do math here.
$100 a week. It's $100 a week, guys. Just ride 20 on a parlay.
You know what? No, fuck it. I'm not taking the smart play. We're going back to it.
I knew you would.
Ravens -3.
I knew you would.
I know.
Triple down.
I am.
We've heard it all. You don't even have to explain it. I get the reasoning.
No, this is. If I was a smart man, I would take the Colts. But
you're not smart. It's okay.
3 glasses of wine in. Fucking tripling down on the Ravens. Bragging rights. Picks, the newly added picks, and now my 5 picks.
All right, respectable.
I will mail an Ed Reed jersey to you that you have to wear next week.
All right, we'll do that. All right, we'll do that. If the Ravens win, I will overnight next week. Beautiful.
I will overnight an Ed Reed jersey.
All right, that's a deal on the table. I accept.
Right,
I'll happily wear it.
I'll probably forget, but the sentiment.
I'll remind you.
All right, fair enough.
I mean, you'll be drunk as shit on Sunday, so
I'll
remind you.
It's entirely possible.
Shit, I'll be right by Philly, so I'm not stopping. I can't.
What?
My brain hurts.
Right, fair enough. Right by Philly, New York is by Philly.
I'll be like an hour and a half north.
To be fair, you'll be closer to Philly than you will be to Pittsburgh at that point. But
at that point, that's what I was saying.
Christ,
but I'm not
look at a map. Right by Philly. All right, get into your fantasy.
It's close. Jesus.
Fantasy. Who do you like this week?
Couple guys I love. I have Tua against the Vegas, against your statement this week. I still think he's going to put up a very good fantasy productive week. He has been over the past, since he's come back, he's been pretty productive. And I think that kind of gets going a little bit more this week. He kind of gets Waddle and Hill more involved in that passing game. We've been waiting for it. I think this is the week that dam breaks, and they both have pretty good weeks. I like Gibbs this week. Really, I like any running back out of Detroit this week, kind of like we already talked about. They're just going to go up big, and they're going to really rely on that ground game against Jags. So I think for that reason, either Gibbs or Demont are going to have nice weeks, so kind of rely on them fantasy-wise. Here's one that you're going to hate. I've Pickens. Since he's been with Russ, he's put up close to a clip every single week with a touchdown.
I don't like it as a fan in terms of fantasy.
That's what
That's
I mean.
yeah,
In
that's
terms of
fair.
fantasy, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Especially going up against that secondary, it just kind of all aligns. But
If
for
Hamilton
you
is
in your fandom,
available, I like that less.
yeah, for sure. But I'm taking into account that he's not. So, or
Fair
that
enough.
they scheme Pickens open like they have been.
Yeah, I
Um,
think Hamilton will be kind of be watching him more than anything because
oh
Russ
yeah,
isn't the running threat that he once was, so he's not going to be spying
no,
as much. But yeah, no,
no,
I
yeah,
agree with that one. That's fair.
yeah. Last two I have on here for guys I like. Josh Jacobs against the Bears this week. They're kind of Bears are reeling. They don't look good. They struggled last week defensively against the Patriots. So going up against a better offense, one that kind of leans on that power run a little bit more, I see that kind of playing a big role into that game, and Josh
Mm.
Jacobs having a nicer game than he has had in previous matchups with better teams. And then last guy I have on here is Puka against the aforementioned Patriots. Uh, I think the Rams are upset they lost last week. Yes, they're traveling all the way to Foxborough. I actually kind of like the Patriots in this matchup a little bit. Um,
I don't. I really don't. I
but
think. Yeah.
I'm not
No.
gonna bet on that game.
Yeah.
I won't touch that game. I don't bet again. I'm not the better here. I just talk about my ideas, and then they come to fruition sometimes, and sometimes they don't. And when they do, I talk about them. When they don't, we forget about them and we move on with our day.
No, I am
Uh,
an adrenaline junkie where I sit there and I
yeah,
watch and I go, son of a bitch.
I, I I like my money a little bit too much
About
sometimes,
games that I
but
don't care about, honestly.
yeah, it helps my mental so much. But yeah, I do like Puka though going up against that secondary. Christian Gonzalez can't cover Puka all day, so he's gonna bounce back and forth from Puka and Cup. And when he's not covering Puka, I think Puka's gonna have a very nice week. He's gonna get peppered with targets like he did last week,
Yeah.
and he's just kind of become Stafford's crutch there. Like
Yeah.
yes, Cup is still there, he still makes plays, but when Puka's fully healthy, he is the go-to guy, and I kind of just see it continuing this week here. Guys that I hate, going back to the Bengals Chargers game, Chase Brown. I'm not a fan of him this week. I think he is going to struggle a little bit going up against that front seven
He's
of the
also gotten
Chargers.
worse every year, or every week,
Is it a
every
year?
week.
His career year, he's gotten worse. But yeah, so I think he's going to have a tough time getting going in the running aspect of this game. He might catch a couple of passes out of the backfield, but I just don't see anything major happening for him. Like I said, I think this is
Yeah,
going
he's
to be a
been
high.
a real letdown. He was kind of hyped up before the season and just he's had 100-yard game
Yeah, he's not
all
a
year.
running. He's not a your like power back. He's more of like your
But
agility pass catching back. And even then, he hasn't done
even
all of that.
receiving, he's had
I think he's had one game with like 5 receptions, and that's it.
2 games with more than 30 yards.
Yeah,
More than
it's
actually, if we want to be real specific on it, he's had 2 games with more than 12 receiving yards.
nice. Good for him. But yeah, I just don't. I don't love him in this particular matchup and what he's going to
Mm-mm.
be facing on a down-to-down basis. Another guy I don't love this week is Kyle Pitts. Um, Again, I don't really love that matchup for the Falcons in general going against Denver. And Pitts is kind of due for a down week due to get kind of lost in that offense. I know it's going to be a tough matchup to throw the ball regardless, and they're going to lean heavily on that game if they're going to win. So Pitts I just don't see him getting a lot of looks. I think that secondary kind of focuses on the middle, and that's where Pitts does a lot of his work. So I just don't see him having that big. Asher actually gave me this next guy,
That's
Brock
me.
Purdy. I we talked about it a bit. He is gonna struggle in this game. McDonald last year, like after also reinformed me, put Purdy in a blender, and he had his worst game of his almost his entire career against them in Baltimore last year. So as long as you bring those same looks, same ideas, same attacks, you're gonna kind of see that again. I do think
I do
though.
want to point out that they did play once this year, and Purdy did go 18 to 28, 255, and 3 touchdowns. I don't think that's
Oh, that's
happening.
great.
Yeah,
That's good knowledge.
that that
But also
gives me
though, this
more
team isn't
confidence.
healthy.
There
Yeah,
was Byron Murphy, like there was a lot of
yeah,
injuries when they played that game. That was
yeah.
that
You
Thursday
also
night
now
game.
have. Yeah, you also now have C-Mac fully healthy, so they're gonna run the ball more. You're gonna see a couple different looks.
Right. And they didn't
I
use him a
do.
lot last week.
Yeah,
They did, but they didn't. Like he just wasn't as productive. So I'm
yeah,
very much on the
yeah. So if
I don't
Purdy does
think it's
blow up this week, though, please blame Asher. Don't blame me.
that's right. I wanted him to say Brees Hall, but he doesn't want to listen.
I'm not betting against my boy.
Just saying. I mean, Brees Hall.
Last two.
That's the one that I'm going to say is Brees Hall.
Speaking,
Don't start him.
uh, speaking of that game, on the opposite side of the ball, I will say Michael Pittman. Him and A. Rich have not been on the same page at all this season. For whatever
Yeah.
reason, they cannot get it going. Um, I'd love to. I'd love to see it happen. For
Well, Pittman
my
usually
own.
gets open, and A-Rich doesn't throw to the open receiver.
No, he throws it to Alec Pierce, double covered. Alec Pierce makes an insane catch, and
Yeah,
I
because he just goes. Alec
scream.
Pierce is going the go route, right? Let me just throw a bomb and see what happens.
Yeah, so that's always great. So Michael Pittman, until him and A Rich kind of get on that same page, I'm not gonna buy into it, just because of that aspect. I would love it to happen. I think it needs to happen for the sake of Indianapolis and their future, but it's just I don't see it this week against that Jets secondary. And then last name on this list, just because I was struggling really to come up with another name, but this one just kind of makes too much sense, is Calvin Ridley, coming off his best week of the season, 2 touchdowns, 74 yards, I believe, and 4 catches, something like that.
Something like that.
And
Also, just in case you want to, since he wanted to put blame on me for Brock Purdy this coming week, Calvin Ridley was on his list of people that he hated last week. I just want to
was
remind
it
everybody
really?
of that. Yeah, he
Was he
was.
really?
He was. He was. And then he went,
He did. He was. He got
whatever,
2 touchdowns. He was the only
two
He was the only
tutties.
productive guy.
Okay. Well, you want to yell at me.
I also had
I
Chuba
just want
Hubbard
to
on that
remind the
list, and
people.
he
I
went
want to
for
remind the
135.
people that if I'm wrong,
So
that
we'll go back. Hold
my
on, hold
one
on.
pick.
I'll go back here and I'll kind of go over things. So Calvin Ridley coming off that high, I do believe that he might struggle a little bit a little bit more this week, especially going up against that secondary with the Vikings and how they scheme things. Now going back to last week, the guys that I didn't like that did not do well: DeAndre Swift, Mahomes, Caleb Williams, Rashad White had an okay game, but yes, I got burned by Chuba Hubbard and Calvin Ridley. They did burn me. I'll
Just
say
saying.
that.
I'm
But
just
the
saying.
guys that I did like also burned me a little bit because I like. Well, Puka didn't burn me because he had a good game, but Jalen Waddle
Yeah.
burned me because Tua didn't throw him the ball, and everybody else was fine. Josh Allen had a good game. T.J. Hawkinson had a great game. James Conner had a good game, right? I don't know. See, now
I
that I
thought
say
that
that
was
out
more a
loud,
Kyler game.
it was definitely a game. I thought
I'm looking
Thomas
right
still
now.
had
I'm
it.
looking. I'm looking. I'm looking.
He had a
Oh,
touchdown.
wrong
Oh
game.
yeah, no, he had a great game. He had a great game. He caught 5 passes for 80 yards.
Oh shit.
Yeah, 33 yards on the ground and a touchdown. He had a great game. Eat my ass. And the last guy on that list, let me just check. QJ 2 for 24 on the touchdown. He did fine.
I'll
It
give you
was
props
fine.
because I did see that touchdown. I went, motherfucker, Dom. Call
Yeah,
him
I
a
told you he
touchdown
was gonna
here.
catch a touchdown. I didn't
Right,
say it
yeah,
was
I
gonna
mean,
be
like,
pretty.
honestly,
Outside of
respectfully,
that,
like, I
yeah.
don't know, he gave me what
The only
11 to 13 point game.
yeah. So the only hard miss on there was Waddle. Other than that, everybody else hit. So
Yeah. Well,
if
who's
not
doing
for
better in
anything,
fantasy this year?
who's doing what?
Who's doing better in fantasy this year, you or me?
I don't know. I was taking a look at your teams in our leagues, and
Okay,
we're
well,
pretty
first
much
of
the
all,
same.
one
We're
league
pretty
I
similar.
am 5-5, and I am the second most points in the league. Everybody just decides to have a week against me.
Is that in Andrew Luck?
Yeah, that's the new one. Yeah,
Dude, I was actually looking at that league, and it
I'm
is
the
so weird. I'm
I'm
3-7, and I
15.
can still make the playoffs.
I'm 1,599 points. So basically, I'm the only other person with 1,600 points in that league, and I'm 5-5, and it's bullshit.
That's fair. I'm sorry for your loss.
It's so stupid. So stupid. And that team is loaded.
My team is so injury riddled, it's not even funny.
No, blame
but yeah.
injuries. All right, fair enough. All right, that's all we got.
All right. That is all we got. We will.
I know it is
see
too
you
late
guys
for
next
us to
week.
keep doing this.
Yeah.
It's been
my
real.
God, I didn't even know this.
I know. I need to
We're
make
out of
food.
here. Yeah. Jeez.